there is a major problem of being able to transport food from point A to point B in a sparsely spread population. So this presents us with a very interesting opportunity that we can increase the ease of transporting food in this specific region where it's tougher to be able to, without these urban agglomerations where you can just, for example, you can make the food in the factory, be able to bring it to one major urban center and basically just call it a day. Instead, now you have to travel from rural town to rural town to rural town and still be able to supply the food to be able to help mitigate the problems of world hunger. So, and the other reason that this is going to be good is because this is going to provide a means for us to take the excess food that is going to be produced, because as the person said before, about 40% of food gets wasted. And it gives a way to be able to distribute food in a much more efficient manner so that instead of this food being wasted and rotted away, we can actually have it such that the food can be brought to specific locations, meaning that there is not as much of a problem being able to feed the hungry, meaning that more labor can be allocated towards other industries so that economic development can come that would help also further the cause of minimizing the impacts of poverty and hunger in these regions. So this brings up with a concept called the refrigerator truck. Now, this version of the refrigerator truck is going to be much more based on renewable energy sources, particularly the electricity that is generated by the wheels and also solar panels. So the key features of this, as like I said, is that it's going to be powered by two main sources, the container itself, which is going to carry the food that is refrigerated. First, there is going to be the wheels, which you can see on the bottom, in which the kinetic energy of the wheels when they drive is going to be able to provide energy to be able to power the container. And secondly, as a backup, we also have solar panels that are going to be able to provide more energy to the trucks in the times in which the car is not driving. And as I said here, the truck itself is powered by oil. I can talk more about this in the Q&A if you wish to ask about this, but the basic reason is that there just isn't the infrastructure in these materially less developed regions to be able to supply electrical power. Like you don't have charging stations spread across where you can basically charge an electrically powered truck. Therefore this means that the fact that it's able to provide significantly more mileage, because the fact that they're able to not have all of your power of the truck container powered by just the oil, the fact that it's much more sustainable as it's much more reliable on renewable resources such as the kinetic motion of just driving the car on the road and the solar energy that comes from the sun with the solar panels, and the fact that the truck refrigerator actually does a good job of providing the energy to be able to keep food cold in the hot sun and hot climates where world hunger tends to be a problem. This would mean that the truck refrigerator concept design is going to be an effective design.
So what is our idea? The algae trees that we have designed will be a cost-effective and sustainable solution to hunger and malnutrition around the world. As you can see in the video, here's the design of the algae trees that was built using the Tinkercad platform. So similar to how leaves are connected to a tree, we have triangular glass panels that will be connected to a central glass tube. The material that we are planning on using is borosilicate glass, which will be bought from Scott, a glass manufacturing company. This material was chosen because it enables the growth of algae due to it having the ability to transit 10 to 15% more light. Additionally, we also have a pump at the base, which will be used to obtain the product that is algae, and the base will consist of a suction pump so that it draws all of the algae down to the bottom.
So what is algae? Living spirulina is a type of cyanobacteria, also known as blue-green algae. It undergoes photosynthesis and it grows in water. Spirulina is also typically found in warm lakes with a pH above 7. Spirulina is able to provide a steady form of energy that does not cause a crash like other sources such as fructose. Algae contains a 64% concentration of protein. This source is also considered a complete protein since it consists of 8 essential aminos that the human body does not produce. These amino acids can also be converted into glucose. Furthermore, algae contains the highest concentration of antioxidants and of iron, which is approximately 48 times more compared to raw spinach. Moreover, algae is a sustainable source because it releases oxygen while also removing CO2 from the air.
As the first step to implementation of our design, culture medium will be prepared using sodium bicarbonate, potassium nitrate, calcium chloride, and few other compounds. They'll be added to water to form culture mediums that contain sufficient nutrient and an optimum pH level of 8 to 10, which are essential for microalgae growth. Next, concentrated live spirulina culture made from the algae obtained from lake water or ponds is added to the culture medium prepared. The medium mixture will then be fed into the glass panels and tubes through the opening at the top. A pump will be used to allow continuous mixing of the algae solution to prevent the algae forming sedimentation. After approximately 3 to 6 weeks, the algae solution will turn from light to dark green. At this point, we will know that the spirulina is matured and ready to be collected. The suction pump at the base will direct all the algae towards the bottom, and they'll be collected by the farmers. Lastly, the algae will be transported and distributed to food production companies to filter, dry, and manufacture algae-based food products.
So our solution is aquaponics, a system in which waste produced by farmed fish or other aquatic animals supplies nutrients such as nitrates and phosphates for plants grown hydroponically, which in turn purify the water for the fish. So what we're going to do is use fish farms that are already in place on Aquaponics, and in doing so, using the waste to grow leafy plants like lettuce, spinach, and cabbage, as well as some larger plants like tomatoes. This can be implemented directly on top of fish cages as illustrated on the slide, and the choice for fish will remain trout as they can eventually be reintroduced into the lake and bolster wild populations as the farm is already seeking to do. One challenge that needs to be overcome is that the fish waste being used normally flows out of the cage as water flows through it. To be used as fertilizer, this waste would need to be captured so that it can be diverted to the above plants. And this in turn would reduce the point source pollution from the fish farm, as instead of just going to the rest of the lake, it is being held by the plants. And assuming 10 cages, fish cages, at the fish farm site we had in mind at around an estimate of 10 meters by 10 meters and at just under half a kilo of yield per square meter per growth cycle and 3 growth cycles per year, we expect that the design can produce 0.75 to 1.5 tons of yield per year, depending on the proportion of leafy plants where the whole plant can be eaten.
Global development. So our design may work better and be a more easily applicable solution in other parts of the world if it were an aquafarm, which is essentially our design, but in a pool on land. I have a diagram on the right. It's quite land efficient. You can farm it vertically instead of using up land, and you get to get the benefits of both fish and these vegetables. So within this global solution, the temperature of the water, lighting conditions, and nutrient conditions could be more easily controlled, but the infrastructure would cost much more to build and require more resources to maintain. So that is why we chose to use our solution instead of create a more expensive aquaponics system.
Okay, so in conclusion, the design proposed is a rather simple system that would allow the Aquaponics community to use their existing fish farms to grow healthy and nutritious plants. This will help the community bolster the current food supply and help promote a healthier lifestyle among people. In addition to all this, it will serve as a prototype for a design that could realistically and rather easily be implemented in remote communities around the world that have access to large bodies of water.
Our top team is Team Aquaponics. So that's Sam, Adrita, and Mitchell. So congratulations, a really cool project. And our second place team is Team Solar Dryer. Terrific work on your project. Well done. This is kind of like a non-audio clap, but well, Cole's got like this. Well done.
Thank
Great
you so
project.
much.